I want to talk about is empowerment. Really, you've got to learn as a business owner to hand off, and you've got to get ready for sometimes your manager or somebody that you've entrusted that there's going to be mistakes. And you have to empower them to learn and make those mistakes, and you have to mentor your people. They care about being paid fairly. They care about recognition. They care about growth mindset, work balance, flexibility, and empowerment. Welcome to the Standby Generator Podcast, brought to you by Power Alliance. I'm your host, Jim Swetman. Together, we will dive into the world of the standby power business, offering expert insights, industry trends, and actionable strategies to help you grow and scale your generator business. Whether you're looking to optimize your operations, increase profitability, or stay ahead of the curve, this podcast is your go-to resource. So grab a seat and let's power up your business for success. Hello, and thank you for joining this week's Standby Generator Podcast. I am your host, Jim Swetman, and this week we're going to talk about employees. Obviously, in order to grow or even have a business, grow your business, scale your business, it really is all about employees. So we're going to talk about my experience in owning a standby generator company for 20 years, about my experience that I've had with employees. I wanted to share this with everybody out there, business owners, managers that are listening right now, that I've learned about employees. Now, of course, employees, like I mentioned, are required, and they need to be part of your team and part of your business. Let's talk about exactly what that means. First, let's talk about what I have found employees really don't care about, especially in today's times. Fancy offices. It's nice to have a window looking out the corner office, but at the end of the day, it's really not about fancy offices. It's really not about free snacks. You can go ahead and provide that. And you know what, to some extent, office parties as well. Now, it is nice to have, I used to have a Christmas party every year, which I think was very important, have the wives come and really kind of celebrate the year and the accomplishments of your company and the employees. I think that that's important, but at the end of the day, anything more than that, the employees really don't care. So let's talk about my experience of what employees really need. One, great leadership. Employees need to be led. They need to be led from the top. They need to have somebody that has focus, somebody that's confident, and somebody that really is working as hard as they are in the company and making it grow. I could do a whole another podcast just on leadership, but I want to go over a whole lot of other things as far as employees go. But really, great leadership is number one. Second part of the pie is all about paid fairly. They need to get paid what the market's paid, and if they're good employees, boy oh boy, you better pay them. It is so hard to find good people. When a good person leaves, the cost to hire that person, train him, and bring him back on board again, you better take a look at your overall, and if that person is functioning and really doing a great job, you really need to pay them. And I don't have an exact figure of what that is. You'll have to figure that out being a business owner, but pay your employees fairly and compensate them, especially if it comes down to the end of the year for bonuses and they've really produced for you, they've really made things happen. You better pay them a little extra money and it just goes a tremendously long way. Another thing that I found out, and this took me years and years as a business owner to get to do this, is recognition. The employee needs to be recognized when they do a good job. You need to walk over to their desk when you hear somebody and a customer say that they've done something good. They need to be recognized on a regular basis within a sales meeting, or if you're in your operations meetings with your techs and somebody goes above and beyond, you need to recognize them and make them feel good. That just goes a long way, especially from the owner of the company, even if it's something simple. You go out back and the warehouse manager is sweeping the floor and nobody had to tell them to do it. Just tell them thank you for the extra hard work that they had to do with you. I think another important thing that employees are looking for is growth mindset. I think, come to work every day, whether you're inside sales or outside sales, you're a tech, you've got to give them a path for growth. And you've got to sit with them and ask them what they think they would like to do moving forward within the company. I always was taught that when my boss, I always wanted to be my boss. Like when I worked for a manager, I wanted his job. When I was a manager, I wanted the owner's job. And you need to have people working for you that are always looking to move up and have that growth mindset. And if they don't, talk to them about what they think that their next steps should be or what they would want to see within the company. It just makes them feel good that you're thinking about them. They'll go home and talk to their other half about how they had that discussion, and it just really goes a long way as far as growth mindset. Next thing, and this has become really important, especially with COVID that happened, is work balance. I was a pretty hard driver. If you weren't in the office at 7:45 and you weren't there at 5:30, I think you were out screwing around somewhere. And that worked for a little while, but it only works so far. So there really is a work balance. Family life is more important than work. And as an entrepreneur growing a business, it was hard for me to understand that, but I learned that in order to remain long-term employees, you really have to have work balance within reason. If something comes up, yes, go ahead and take care of it. They've got to take maybe a little extra time off than their regular 2 weeks that they've had. You really have to make sure that you're taking care of it up to a point, of course. You don't want them to take advantage of you, that he's a super nice guy, but you really have to think about work balance with your employees. Flexibility. What does flexibility mean? Flexibility is the way that they work. If you have a rigid, like I'm a firm believer, as you all have, being a business owner, is process and procedures, right? We have to have things written down. We have to give guidance to our employees as far as what has to happen, but you need to be flexible with each individual employee about how they work, about how they may have some ideas that may be helpful to you to go ahead and use those. So be flexible with the employees as far as how they work, and even to the point with the way that their office may look like. If you go in there, if they've got a cubicle and they've got some things that may be just a little bit messy and it kind of drives you crazy, because I know it did to me, you have to learn to be flexible with that. And the last thing I want to talk about is empowerment. Really, you've got to learn as a business owner to hand off, and you've got to get ready for sometimes your manager or somebody that you've entrusted that there's going to be mistakes. And you have to empower them to learn and make those mistakes, and you have to mentor your people coming up. Especially, you should have, if you got a $3 to $5 million company, you should have your 3 most important people reporting to you that you trust, and you need to empower them. That doesn't mean that you're not watching out and asking questions, but you have to empower them to do the right thing. You have to mentor them, and you have to teach them, and you have to trust them in order to make that all work. So in summary, employees, if you have your weekly company party, hey, that's great. They don't care. If you have that beautiful office, they probably don't care. What do they care about? They care about being paid fairly. They care about recognition. They care about growth mindset, work balance, flexibility, and empowerment. And like one of the dealers down in Florida, Jesse Rack, learned this, or I learned this from him, which was just fantastic about employees. It's about want, will, and capacity. Jesse, if you're watching this thing, it's just fantastic. They want to do their job, that they have the will to do it, and they have to have the capacity to make that all happen. Your job as a business owner to make sure that they fulfill all those things and everything else that we talked about. That's it. I just wanted to talk about employees and how important they are to you. You have to have them as part of the growth of the company. Get to know your employees, have a good time with them, give them great leadership in what they need to do, and you're going to scale and grow your business like you wouldn't believe. Thanks a lot. That's it. Again, my name is Jim Swetman from Power Alliance, and thank you for listening to the Home Standby Generator Podcast. Thank you for tuning in to the Standby Generator Podcast. If you enjoyed the show, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share. For more resources, tips, and to connect with other like-minded professionals, visit us at poweralliance.com or visit our social media pages. Until next time, keep powering up your business.